News 46 is brought to you by Inspiration Senior Living, where we provide affordable elegance to Pahrump area seniors. Give us a call at 751-2300 and make an appointment to tour our community. News is also brought to you by Smitty's Cards and Coins. Would you like to know what your collectibles are worth? Come by 2281 Postal Road, Unit 4, across from the post office. News is also brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Call 727-9900 today for your free consultation. If you need a lawyer, you need Nelson.
Tonight on News 46, a family fights for their patch of heaven.
Coin collecting, a hobby and a future investment.
And the VIP All-Stars expand their programs and location. News 46 starts now.
You're watching KPVM News 46 with Monique Mitchell and Eunette Gentry. Local coverage from Deanna O'Donnell. News 46. Local coverage you can count on.
Good evening. It's Tuesday, March 8th, 2016. I'm Monique Mitchell.
And I'm Eunette Gentry for News 46.
Well, Patch of Heaven is a church camp in Amargosa owned by Victor and Eunette Fuentes. The 40-acre parcel was purchased in 2006 and is surrounded by the Ash Meadows Wildlife Refuge. The whole area is fed by dozens of natural springs. Patch of Heaven had a stream running through it that had been there for at least 100 years. But in 2010, the Department of Fish and Wildlife diverted that stream in order to preserve several endangered fish species, particularly the tiny ash meadow dace. The stream was once where baptisms and other church activities were held. The Fuentes say that the fish have not been saved. Actually, many have died since they diverted the water, and the diversion has caused major damage to the area. We caught up with the Fuentes' attorney, Joseph Becker.
5.5 years ago now, they were deprived of their water. U.S. Fish and Wildlife dammed up the water where it had historically, since at least the late 1800s, entered their property. They circumvented the property by routing it around to the high elevation side and then reconnected it and sent it back to where it had always gone, so just bypassing the property owned by Patch of Heaven Ministerial Roca Salida Church. They did it in such a way that the first time that it rained, the water tried to return to its historic path and did about $90,000 worth of damage. They did it without getting Clean Water Act permits. They did it by in defiance of the county who'd sent out FEMA people to enforce FEMA regulations. So in essence, we sued them. The water is, every time we get some significant rainfall out this way, the water tries to go back to its historic path. So at least 2 more times since the original flood, it's traversed the property and did even more damage. So we're up to somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000 worth of flood damage alone. But I think the bottom line is that, and they've made this public, this is not my speculation, they've announced this in public meetings, they want no private landowners out there. And so, one way to do that is to buy them out, and if they can't get the previous seller, which is the case here, to sell at the price they wanted to sell, then what they do, I suppose in this case, is dry them out, and that's unfortunately what's happened at the church.
Where do you guys go from here?
Well, we've been tied up in federal court for a while. We will be back in the U.S. Court of Federal Claims for a taking because, like I said, the district court and the process has been so slow, and the repetitive flooding has resulted in taking of the entire property, really, and then it's also resulted in a almost impossible return of the property to its former condition. The relief we were seeking in district court for the last several years has been what we call injunctive relief. It's getting the government to do something, not money, but get them to put the water back, get them to restore the property to the pre-constitutional violation condition. And because we think that's a physical impossibility, or perhaps even, if not physical impossible, so financially difficult, we don't think the government would do it. We think rather they would just take the property anyway. So you bring a takings claim at the Court of Claims in Washington, D.C. So that's probably where we're headed at this point.
A police-involved accident occurred yesterday on Highway 160 and Homestead Road. According to sources, the officer's cruiser was struck from behind by another vehicle at approximately 7:30 in the morning. Officer Chris Sinnert was the NCSO deputy involved in the crash when a gray minivan struck the back of his police vehicle. Sources tell News 46 that the accident may have been intentional. Nevada Highway Patrol is investigating. No one was injured or transported, according to NHP.
Well, luckily no one was injured yesterday afternoon in a crash on the north side of town.
Nye County Sheriff's deputies, Nevada Highway Patrol, and Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue responded to what was originally reported as a four-vehicle accident yesterday afternoon in the rain on Highway 160 and Blosser Road. No one was injured as a result of this minor accident. Nevada Highway Patrol is investigating the cause. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46.
And after this break, we'll have your court report, so don't go anywhere.